Welcome to my interior design kids club. Today we're going to make some wallpaper for our doll's house box bedroom. So this is the one that we've been looking at over the last few days. If you remember, this is a box and we're going to make it into a beautiful bedroom design. So we've got a window over here and then we've got the door over there. If you remember in the last lesson, lesson 4, we looked at furniture layout. So it's important that you go back and do this lesson if you haven't done it already, because today we need to know where the feature wall is going to be. So the feature wall is going to have the wallpaper on it, and usually in a bedroom, it's the wall behind the bed. So we need to know where the furniture is going to be, and then we know where we're going to put our feature wall. So go back and have a look at lesson 4 to understand how to lay out the furniture in your room. And then we know the bed's going here in our little box. So the feature wall is going to be this one along here. So in our box, it's this wall here where the door is. That is actually going to be our feature wall, and it's important first of all that we know which wall it's going to be. We don't put the wallpaper on the wrong wall, do we? So the next thing to do is to get a template of that wall. So I'm going to get a piece of paper and pop it down, and this is the wall here, so that is going to go straight down onto the piece of paper. Hopefully you've got a piece of paper that's large enough, and I'll just get my pen and draw around it. So we know what shape it is, and then also when I turn it around, I need to know where the door is. So I'm just going to draw in the door. There we go. And then we end up with a template. So that is going to be a template for the wallpaper that we're going to create. And then we can cut that out. We cut it out and we pop it in first just to make sure it fits. So I'm going to pop that in. And hopefully you can see it's just buckling a little bit here. Look, it's not quite straight. So I'm just going to try and get that straight. I'll crease it at the top. Get that straight, put a crease at the top. Take that out. I've got my crease mark there. And I'm just going to cut off that top bit. And that's because the inside is just a bit different to the outside, isn't it? So if we cut that off, and then any wallpaper we make, we know it's going to be the right size. Remember to pick up all your rubbish afterwards. We don't leave the place a mess, only when we're creating. There, that fits better, doesn't it? That fits in a lot better. So that's going to be the template we're using when we're creating our wallpaper. Different types of wallpaper we're going to create today. So the first one is going to be something like this. So this is actually proper wallpaper that I got from wallpaperdirect.com. So this was a sample piece for one of my clients. But you could use wrapping paper if you've got anything like that. We're going to be doing some stenciling. Oh, that's going to be fun. Maybe you've got a colouring book, so you could colour that in and make wallpaper out of that. Or we could do some cutting and sticking, just get a magazine, get some of your favourite pictures and put them onto a piece of paper and make some wallpaper like that. So we're going to have a look at all those different ways of making wallpaper today. So let's begin with the easiest. which is getting some wrapping paper or a piece of wallpaper and just cutting it out. How simple could we get with that? So I've got some more wallpaper here. Actually, I want to try this colour. So this was a blue that I was looking at for a bathroom design I'm working on at the moment. And I think that would be amazing as wallpaper as well. So you could do some painting or you could use some wallpaper. So I've got my template. I'm going to put that on this sheet of paint. I'm going to draw around it and draw around your template. That's better. There we go. Yeah, all the way around your template. And don't forget about the door. Draw around the door, inside of the door. There we go. So we have our shape. I'm going to cut that out. So you could use wrapping paper, you could do this, paint a piece of paper, and then cut it out. Oh, I do like the colour of this blue. Cut my door out. Get rid of the rubbish, clear that later. So end up like that. Let's put that in. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, it's so nice. Look at that. Oh, look at that wallpaper. And through the window. Oh, that is very nice. So that's one way to make some wallpaper. You can also get your wrapping paper and make wallpaper from that. What does this one look like? Oh, that's nice as well. Oh, look at that with a pattern. So if you want a bit of pattern, oh, through the window. Oh, that is nice. It's coming together. Two different types of wallpaper. So the next one we're going to do is stenciling, which will look something like this. So you need a scrap piece of paper. I'm just going to use my old template, some paint. So I've got this big pot. Look at that. Oh, that's a nice colour, isn't it? Hey? Such a nice colour. And this is a stipple brush. You'll see it's got a flat edge to it. So you can make a stipple brush just with a normal paintbrush and then just chop the top off. That's because when you use a stipple brush, you dab it like that. Dab, 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 dab. Whereas when you use a normal paintbrush, you're going more like that. And the reason that we're dabbing it is because we don't want the paint to actually run underneath, because if we've got a stencil, oh, look at that stencil. That's nice with all the flowers, and that's what we're going to use. So first of all, I'll get my piece of paper and I'm going to create a template. Yep, get our house, create our wall, and then we know what the wall's going to look like. You know how big it is. There we go. Let's just draw this framework. There we go. On the bottom. and the door. Now we're not going to cut this out until the end because that makes it a bit easier for you. So, but for the moment, we need to have our framework. So then we get our paintbrush and our stencil. Put the stencil where you want it. I'm going to go for the middle to begin with. Just a tiny bit of paint on there. Tiny bit of paint. And then take off the excess on your scrap piece of paper. Look how much paint's come off. We just want it quite dry. And then take our stencil and we just dab like this. Dab slowly, carefully, gently. It's nice. And then we take the stencil off and then it looks like that. So then we can reposition the stencil. But before we do that, I've just got a tissue and I'm going to dab the stencil, the back of it, onto the tissue just to get rid of any extra paint. So reposition my stencil, where do I want it to be? Again, a bit of paint, take off the excess and dab, 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 dab. There we go. Oh, look at that. I've still got some paint left on this paintbrush, so I can reposition my stencil, and without getting any more paint, I'm just using the extra paint that's left on the brush. There, starting to build it up, come together. Reposition your stencil, where do you want it to be? I need a bit more paint, tiny little bit. Dab off the excess. Reposition my stencil. Where shall I have these flowers? There. And just keep going until it's all finished. So yeah, it's looking nice, isn't it? Now, I've only got one pot of paint, but if you have more colours at home, then it would look lovely if you did one colour, let that dry. It doesn't take long to dry at all. And then you can put the second lot of paint colours on top of it, and that would give it more depth. So I'm just going to finish doing this. Positioning my flowers. Where do we want them? That's it, a bit of a gap in the middle. So I'm going to put some stems in there. That's it. That's looking nice, isn't it? So we can keep going. Lovely, lovely. That's it. Any gaps, just put some of these stems in there. That's looking really nice. And let's finish that off, shall we? Bit of paint. What do we do next? Get rid of the excess. That's it. And around the door, we're going to position the flowers around the door. We're using up the paint. I need a few stems in there. Make sure we have no gaps. I think those flowers will look nice by the door there. Look, I've just started the flowers by the door, so I'm going around the door so that it looks nice. A bit of paint, take off the excess. That was a bit too much paint. There we go. Put the flowers on. That's it. Nice light dabbing movements, remember? Yeah. That's it. Let's position these. It's coming together. That looks nice, isn't it? Bit of a gap in the corner. Put some flower there. And a bit of a stem. And then down by the side of the door, put some more flowers. Bit of a stem. Another flower. There we go, bit of a stem. Yeah. That looks very nice. So let's cut that out now. Okay. So it dries really quickly, which is great. Like an animal print, this flower, isn't it? Let's cut the door out. Just be careful around the door, mind your fingers. Ooh. Let's pop that in. See what that looks like. Oh, that looks lovely. Oh, look at that. Hey, through the window. Oh, that's very nice. So you could find a stencil or you could make your own stencil with a bit of plastic. So far we have our lovely stenciling. We also have, you could use wrapping paper or you could just paint your favourite colour. So we've got 3 types of wallpaper so far. Let's do some more. You could do some cutting and sticking. So what we need to do here is get a magazine, any magazine, choose some pictures and cut them out. And then I've got a lid. I'm going to put my glue on there. Makes it easier for me to work with. That's it. There we go. An old paintbrush. I need a scrap piece of paper. So choose your picture. So that's the back and that's the front. So I'm going to put it front side down on my scrap piece of paper. Get my paintbrush, a bit of glue around the edges. That's it. Oh, glue around the edges. There we go. And then stick that on. And it doesn't have to be straight if you don't want it to be. And there we can start creating all of our lovely pictures. So let me get another one and put some glue on there. So have a look around your house and see what you've got, whether you've got pens, pencils, crayons, paint, this is a bit too big. Let's a bit too big, so I put it at the bottom. I don't want those words in my picture, so I'm going to cut them off. And then we can see what that looks like. So it's quite modern. Oh, it's quite a modern look. There we go. There, all those pictures, and then through the window. Yay! So lots of different ways there of putting together your wallpaper. So you could use glue, you could use paint, maybe you have some, whoa, felt tips. Your stencil, you could use that. Your colouring books, all different ways of creating lovely wallpaper. So this is my, this is the colouring book, this is the paint, this is wrapping paper or wallpaper, and this is the stenciling. So loads of different ways. So we can change the look of our bedroom by creating lots of different wallpaper. So have a go today creating all different wallpaper. Remember first of all to do your furniture layout. So go back to the last lesson first, then you know where the bed's going to be, because that's going to be the wallpaper wall. So have a go at creating lots of different types of wallpaper. Loads of different ways. And then you'll be able to use those to change your bedroom, your doll's house box bedroom. It's starting to come together now. Have a really fun day creating all of those different types of wallpaper.